Researchers at UCL here in London have been conducting a study throughout lockdown, throughout this pandemic, called the COVID-19 Social Study. And basically they're looking at the impact of the virus, but specifically the impact of social distancing measures on individuals. And there are loads of interesting stats that have come out of that. But in particular, I was drawn to the one on loneliness. Young people, so people in the category 18 to 29-year-olds, have reported significantly higher levels of loneliness. People living on their own, significantly higher levels of loneliness. And also people in urban, so city context, over rural context, significantly higher levels of loneliness. And that's not even talking about mental health. It's widely reported that anxiety and depression are on the rise, that have risen in lockdown. Again, specifically in the younger category, 18 to 29-year-olds. And when that category was asked if they had engaged with any sort of thoughts of self-harm or even death, up to 30% at different points during lockdown reported having had such thoughts. Now, in a church like ours, we are in an urban centre, we're in London, in a city, and our congregation is majority kind of in that younger category. There's a good chance that some of us, if not a lot of us, have had challenges in our mental health and in loneliness throughout this pandemic. I know I have. You know, I've had my moments of, what have I done? I've run my 5Ks, I've planted my herbs, which are growing very well, thank you, and also my window boxes. My flowers are about to come into bloom. I've even picked up my old flute, which honestly I probably haven't touched in about 15 years. Colin's making sourdough. But if I'm honest, those moments are probably getting further and farther between. And moments of low energy and of struggling for motivation and of hopelessness and of frustration are definitely setting in. And speaking to others, I know that that seems to be the case for so many other people as well. But above all, I miss people. I miss my family. I miss my friends. I feel it like deep inside, like a physical feeling of missing my family. I'm lonely without the people that I usually see every day that bring joy to me every day. Of course, Zoom and FaceTime are incredibly helpful, and I would not have made it through this without technology. I'm so grateful for it. But it's not the same. It's great being able to see people every day and chat to them on FaceTime, but it's not the same. It's not enough. We know that from our own personal experiences. The stats are telling us, the media is telling us. We're lonely and we're desperate for connection, physical connection, real connection. A hug, a long chat over a coffee in a local coffee shop, a birthday party where we can actually eat and dance in the same room, not over Zoom. Fill in the blank, whatever it is for you. And I find it fascinating, another piece in that UCL research, they asked what activities people have been missing during lockdown. And the top 2 reported activities are missing meeting with friends and missing meeting with family. Going to the gym, going to work, all of that stuff is way down the bottom. The things that people are missing people. You're not alone. If you've struggled with any of those things that I've just mentioned, or if you've just struggled in any way during this lockdown, during this pandemic, you're not alone. We're all on this journey. Yes, we've got different triggers and experiences that we're going through, but we are all on the journey together. I promise you, you are not alone. And maybe that's all you even need to hear today, that what you're going through is not your own unique experience. We're all sharing in this experience. Because I hate to disappoint you, but you probably have guessed I do not have the answers. I haven't worked out what it looks like to truly thrive in lockdown, to truly thrive in this season. All I can offer are a couple of reflections as I've walked through this. So firstly, we were created for connection. You know, right back in the garden, right back in Genesis, when God creates Adam, he gifts Adam Eve. And what does he say? He says it's not good for man to be alone. The first human, it's not good for them to be alone. They need relationship. He wasn't going to flourish. And why? Because we are made and created in the image of God. So if we want to know something about what it means to be human, how to flourish as humans, we have to look at the Creator. God himself, Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, in relationship, and his very being, relationship. He is relationship. And so why would we as humans ever conceive of ourselves like independent islands? If God himself is in his being relationship, then we are defined by relationship. Martin Luther talks about sin as being a life or a heart turned in on itself. So in other words, not how we were created to be. We were created to look outwards. We were created to turn outwards in relationship to God, to each other, and to the world. And we crave connection and we crave relationship and we thrive in relationship because that's how we were created to be. And I find that incredibly releasing and incredibly reassuring. It's no wonder we're struggling in this season. We're not weak or failing in some way for not being able to survive without real connection. We're yearning for that physical connection. It's because we were created that way. And yet here we find ourselves. We find ourselves disconnected physically from so many of the people we love. We find ourselves at times lonely and feeling completely isolated. So how do we hold these two things in tension, knowing what we were created for, relationship, but living through a time when we're physically disconnected from each other? Well, this is where my answers really do run out. There's no fix to this. There's no fix all to this situation. But I wonder if the Spirit is stirring two things. This is what I sense anyway. Firstly, I feel like he's saying, it's okay. It's okay to feel like this. Let me minister to you. Bring it to me. Let me heal your heart. Let me soothe your soul. Come and rest in me. Come and be in my presence. Bring it all to me. First and foremost, the relationship that we were created for is with our Father, is with God. And so that relationship that doesn't depend on Corona, thankfully, that doesn't depend on FaceTime or proximity or physical nearness, is there through the power of his Spirit, is near, it fills us through the power of his Spirit. Let's rest in that relationship. And secondly, the other thing I feel like he's stirring is that he's saying, don't give up. If we were created to thrive in relationship, then that's true in this season. It's true in every season. It's what it means to be human. And we can flourish in this season. And we will all walk our own journeys to work out what that looks like. I don't know what that will be for you. You will walk your own journey. I'll walk my own journey. But the Spirit whose very purpose is to bring life and flourishing to all of creation, including us as humans, is the Spirit that fills us. It's the Spirit that energizes us. It's the Spirit that gives us hope and life. Let's push into relationship, yes, with God, but also with each other. It can be so easy to retreat, to turn off, but instead let's stay connected to our friends, stay connected to our families, stay connected to our hubs and to church. Don't give up. Because the Spirit of the living God is within you, bringing you life. And I guess finally, let's talk. Let's be open about this stuff. Yes, let's talk to God. We bring it before God, but we also need each other. That's the whole point. If you need someone to talk to, find a friend, talk to your mum, talk to your hub leader, whoever that person is. But let's stay connected. Let's not give up. It's not how it's meant to be. We were made for a relationship with God and with each other in every single season.